Welcome, everyone. My name is Jordi Jordà. I'm the Innovation Director in the Catalan Health and Social Care Consortium. We are coordinating this suHCO project that we will talk about in a few minutes. But first, just to start and to check if everyone is active in front of the screen. I hope this works well because I have a question for all the audience. And hopefully, as you can see in the Teams, you have a hand, so it allows you to participate, and we will check if you have it and you can use it. Okay. So my questions for the audience is: are you or do you consider yourself or your family as healthcare users? Meaning you go to primary care, you have your parents in a nursing home, you go with your children to a hospital when they have a problem. Do you consider yourself healthcare users? I do, so I will raise my hand as well. Hopefully, everyone is raising their hands now. Okay, I see that you can raise your hands, so nice. So actually, we as healthcare professionals and you as healthcare users, we are all in the same system, okay? And and this is a downside now, if we considered the health sector as a country, meaning that we are all living in the same country, I'm not happy to say that we would be ranked as top 5 country CO2 emitters, meaning that we would be, as a country, next to the United States of America, next to China, next to India, contributing to the greenhouse emissions. And like maybe other countries, we are conscious about that and we want to do something. And the European Union and the European Commission is supporting us. That's the whole point of this project. Okay, so welcome everybody to this meeting. I will hand over the introduction of the technical parts to Sonia, who is from Empirica, and she will just make a quick introduction on what we are going to do and what we are going to present, and she will moderate the session. So thank you, Sonia, for joining us. Hope this goes as well as we have planned.
Yeah, thank you, Jordi. Yeah, also good morning from my side. My name is Sonia Müller from Empirica. We are supporting the lead procurer in this project in the management of the project, and I will be your moderator today. So the least important person, I guess, because the presenters and you are the ones who are important to us today. So before we start with the content, I will do a bit of a housekeeping to present you the housekeeping rules, because we are many people and we unfortunately have to stick to some rules to not create a big mess. So a few things up front. All information that will be shared today will also be shared later. So we will share the slides that we will present with you personally. So all people who have registered will receive an email after the webinar with links to presentations, for example. We will also record the webinar and we'll share the recording. One thing in that regard, we will open the microphones in the Q&A session only. And when you have a question during that session or section of the webinar, please also, if you agree, open up your camera. Having said that, as we will record the webinar, if you do not want your picture to be shared afterwards or to be included in the recording, and you have still a question in the Q&A part, which is fine, then just don't open up your camera so that your face is not being recorded. Yeah, as I said, only the video and mics will be opened during the Q&A. During the presentations, we will mute all of you. You can still ask questions whenever you want to ask a question. During the normal presentations, we kindly ask you to do that using the Q&A function, not the chat. So at the top, you should see a chat function and a Q&A section. Please use the Q&A section to ask a question, and we will monitor that while we are doing the presentation, and try to pick up the questions during the presentation to a degree that is possible. So we really try to do this as interactive as possible, even when your mics are muted. So this is a bit of a balance we have to strike. Yeah, we will also take note of all the questions, obviously, that will be asked, and the critical new questions that are not yet on our FAQ section on the website will also be added to that FAQ section, so that every supplier or whoever is interested in suHCO can go to the FAQ section on the website and have a look at the questions. Yeah. We also encourage you to use this event and also the weeks and months after to network between each other, but also, of course, to interact with us. Yeah, first of all, I think, as I said, when you ask a question in the Q&A, please present yourself. Also, we encourage you, yeah, to also maybe after the ONC, get in touch with each other if you are having an idea for addressing our challenge, but need some more expertise from other suppliers. Get in contact with each other. Maybe also use our matchmaking platform that is available on the website. Things like that. So we really want you to interact with each other, but also, of course, interact with us. Yeah, the matchmaking platform is mainly addressing the suppliers, but we also have something interesting, we think, for health and care organizations. So you can become a follower of our project, where you will receive some exclusive information on the project. You will have the chance to interact with us a bit more closer as anyone else out there. So if you are a health and care organization, go to our follower website, or part of the website where you can register as a follower, register, and then we can interact a bit more closer with each other. Everyone here is, of course, kindly invited to register to our newsletter and follow us on LinkedIn. Then, in relation to the event today, what the aim today is that we would like you to understand what the scope of our project is. We also would like you to understand what a PCP process is. Some of you may know this already, have participated in earlier PCPs already. Some of you maybe not. So we will present what a PCP process is to, in the end, reach a common understanding of what a PCP process is. Yeah, we also want to discuss with you so potential suppliers of R&D solutions that are important to us. We want to kind of test the market to see what is out there, whether the challenge we are currently preparing goes in the right direction, things like that. And of course, we want you as the suppliers to facilitate establishment of partnerships that probably will be needed to submit a tender for the challenge we are publishing in a few months' time. We have a few presenters today, so you will fortunately not only listening to me. We will start with Maria Colomé, who is in the team of Jordi, at Consorci, Salut in Catalunya, who are the lead procurer in this project. She will present the overall project and the challenge we are working towards. Yeah, you have Jordi, who opened the meeting. I will moderate the overall webinar. Klaus Piesche, my colleague from Empirica, will present the more technical details on the tender submission, or the things that you need to know in that regard, and Bart will present a bit more the details of what we are looking for. So with this, I think I hand over to Maria.
Yep, thank you, Sonia. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I am Maria, as Sonia mentioned, and I will be guiding you through the introduction of the topic that suHCO is gathering us around. So, first of all, who is working in the suHCO project? We are three European procurers. We at CSC represent Spain, or Catalonia, Spain. We also have EnEA in Treviso, Italy, and HDUHB in Wales, UK. The goal to have procurers from different countries is to represent all Europe and different kind of health and care organizations throughout the whole EU. And as well, joining us, we have three different partners. We have empirica, as they have already introduced themselves. We have the Bevan Commissions from the Swansea University at UK, and we have BME as well from Germany, so as well as empirica. So this is the consortium that we are working for, a suHCO project. And we already have a bit of information of the project. We are different organizations that provide service to 6.4 million clients or million patients. So we want to represent a wider as possible range of patients and different kind of health and care organizations, as I mentioned earlier. On the other hand, we've already published a PIN, which is a prior information notice. If you want to click that link, you can get more info. And also, I want to introduce the common challenge that brings us here today, which is to accelerate this sustainability transition within health and care organizations. So we want to work for health and care organizations and help them to achieve a better environmental sustainability. To do so, we will do that through a three-phased competitive PCP, which is a pre-commercial procurement, which we will discuss further later. And for that, the EU has granted us with almost 3 million euros to invest in R&D. Why suHCO? Why do we want to work in environmental sustainability? As Jordi mentioned in the introduction, as the health and care sector, we are one of the greatest pollutants in the planet. We are greater producers of greenhouse gas emissions. We create millions of tons of waste. mainly with single-use products, and we are highly dependent on linear supply chains. Those linear supply chains are only thought to create a product, use that product, and then throw out, not even thinking of even recycling or reproducing that product. On the right side of your slide, you will find a very clear example of one surgical intervention. So this patient had a breast reconstruction after a cancer, and she asked to the medical team to keep all the products that were used in that surgery. And you can clearly see just with one surgery how many products were thrown out, used and thrown out. And we think it's a very clear image. So having said that, what does suHCO mean? The bigger title is basically we are looking for a systemic sustainability transition solution. So that's our goal. For who? For health and care organizations. And how do we want to achieve that? Through a pre-commercial procurement, through a PCP. You're going to hear us talk about PCPs through the whole event. So a PCP means a pre-commercial procurement. So this is our goal. We work for health and care organizations, help them to transition to their to have a better systemic sustainability. We are looking for to aim and achieve a circular economy through the whole health and care organization, not only to one specific area of a health and care organization, rather the whole organization. And also we are looking for not just one organization, but we are working for hopefully for the whole Europe. So we have to have in mind that there will be all different kinds of health and care organizations, and within those health and care organizations, there are all different kinds of employees. We want to connect with health and care organization decision makers. We want to work for any kind of HCO that has any size, and we want to make sustainability actionable. So I want to invite to think as well on the linear supply chains that we were thinking about earlier. For now, we are very used to have a very linear use of a product. And if we want to recycle, if we follow this arrow, you see that we have to do a big loop. So for now, it's we've already started recycling some products, but the amount of energy, effort, and money that needs to be put into the recycling of the product, it's huge. So we want to make an effort to work for the circular economy, which would be do other actions that will make that arrow way smaller and thinner, so the amount of effort and resources that we have to put in that will be definitely less, will be fewer. I know this is hard. It's a huge mind shift, and we have to have in mind that we have a lot of limits because we are in the health and care sector. We are dependent on suppliers. We are dependent on the infection control systems, legal limits. So we know that it's not an easy thing to do, but that's why we're here. We want to work for that. And I want to introduce the 4 areas that brought this or that helped us analyze this challenge. So on the first column, we have the information area, and we analyzed a need that we had, which for now is to improve our access to environmental sustainability informations. That would be case studies, legal and procurement knowledge. For now, the information is very spread out. It's very hard to obtain all the information and all the good practices. So we are in need of a better way to obtain this information. Regarding the operation area, we are in need of a structure and guidance for a sustainable action. That way we can achieve operation effectiveness. If we move to the organization area, we are in need of a platform, one platform that can increase our efficiency of our organizations in conducting those sustainable actions. And finally, in the change and upskilling area, we've detected that we have the need of a tool that helps us customize the capacity building and training of our health and care practitioners and professionals. And last but not least on my part, I want to share that we've already created this follower network that Sonia mentioned at the beginning. We for now have 32 members that have joined the suHCO train. They are already sharing their willingness to work for the sustainability in their health organizations and the health and care system. We have different healthcare organizations, we have other public bodies, we have different projects that are joining us, and also that will help us in the third phase of the project that will introduce you in a few minutes. So now I am passing the word to you, guys.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you,
much.
Maria. We'll switch the cameras. Thank you. My name is Bart, and I will present the suHCO aim and scope. Basically, what we actually want from you as suppliers. So first, I want to quickly elaborate on how we came to our challenge and how we're actually still currently shaping our challenge. And we have conducted several research activities here, both internally within the consortium, but also external. And yeah, I will quickly touch upon these. So first, we have developed seven different user groups, each which has evolved into a persona. I will shortly follow up on these. We have conducted an internal mural workshop in which we critically reviewed the requirements that we have currently developed already, at least in a draft stage. And another activity that will come is an open taxonomy working group. Externally, we have also shared a survey with health and care organizations and other stakeholders to provide input into our research. So we ask about the challenge, about desired solution features, and other aspects as well. And similar questions were asked in a more in-depth activity in actually focus groups and interviews. The interviews have been taken with healthcare decision makers and focus groups with among 3 different user groups. And finally, we will also aim to get your feedback on our challenge and on our envisaged solution via an OMC survey, and this will also be discussed later today as well. And all those elements in the end evolve into the suHCO challenge brief. And yeah, the process of the challenge brief will be discussed in this presentation as well. So more on that later. So first, the 7 user groups that we have defined within our consortium. And I will quickly touch upon every user group for a short time. So the first one is health and care decision makers, and in regard of the solution used, there would be more strategic user developing strategically, for example, sustainability missions, making impact analysis, and making sure that in the end important decisions are taken to make a health and care organization more sustainable and to kickstart the sustainability transition. This is somewhat similar to sustainability staff, but this would be a user that is a little bit more practically involved by, for example, connecting different departments together to ensure that sustainability workflows are being implemented. And yeah, a third user group is procurement staff. Of course, every material inflow is in the end decided by procurement staff and procurement departments, and that's why this is definitely also a user group that should be considered. Procurement should in the end become more sustainable, and the suHCO solution should be able to help procurement officers and staff with that. The fourth group is a specifically important user group for healthcare. It's maybe good to emphasize here that the healthcare domain is can be a little bit more complicated than other sectors, especially when it comes to compliance, for example, in terms of infection control and other safety measures that are really important and that may hinder or at least complicate the implementation of sustainability in health and care organizations. So that's why this user group should definitely be involved to ensure that every proposed measure to make an organization more sustainable is actually also legally and safety-wise possible. Then we move to the boots on the ground, the health and care practitioners. This user group may not have too much time available to spend a lot of time on additional efforts to become more sustainable, but their work should definitely be affected by the suHCO solution. So they should be able to apply more sustainable practices in their day-to-day work, and that's in the end where the solutions should definitely make a big impact. Estate staff is a user group that is managing, for example, building and construction aspects of the organization, but definitely also waste streams and manages waste management. And also here there's a big challenge in healthcare. Although only a small share of the waste is hazardous, it should definitely be taken into account that there are complicating factors in waste management in healthcare, and that's why this user group is also included here. Finally, the administration staff user group is also not in the end the first targeted user, but it will definitely be important when sustainability measures are implemented and monitored, that this staff is also able to use the solution for reporting purposes. So that's the reason why that user group is here included as well, and those all form the 7 targeted user groups as we have defined them now. You already see some pictures, so these user groups have evolved into personas, for each describing detailed motivations, frustrations, and desired features even of the suHCO solution. And this is something we will definitely share in the challenge brief and maybe in an earlier stage as well, for example, on our website or LinkedIn page. Yes, as I mentioned, we also conducted a survey for health and care organizations and other stakeholders in the domain of sustainable healthcare. As for now, we have 27 responses, of which most of them from health and care service providers, almost 80%. And that's also the user group we've targeted here, or the respondents group. And we ask, for example, about the challenges they experience when implementing sustainable practices in their organizations. We already made a predefined list of challenges here, but we also allowed for challenges to be added. But clear results here were that budget and time constraints were selected most frequently, followed by awareness and lack of strategies which with practical steps. So those are challenges that we also defined ourselves actually, but it's confirmed with these survey results. Then there's also was also a question about the importance of potential solution features of the suHCO solution. And as you can see, most of the features we proposed were considered as at least important, so an average rating of 4 out of 5. And the highest rated features were focused on implementation-oriented support over exchange-oriented features. So, for example, so actionable step-by-step plans was by far the clearest, most important feature, followed also by automated monitoring and sustainability knowledge. We ask similar questions, but allowing more in-depth discussions in the focus group sessions. And I can also share a first impression of the results here as well. We had 61 participants among 3 user groups, so health and care practitioners, procurement staff, and sustainability staff. At each procurer site, so at the 3 countries in Spain, Italy, and the UK. And we also asked to rank challenges, sustainability challenges here. The results were relatively similar to the survey. Awareness and organization culture was mentioned here a little bit more frequently, but also budget and time constraints was one of the top 3 challenges. The importance of solution features was also asked here among 3 different user groups. And although there are small differences, it is striking actually that it's still quite similar to the results of the survey. So monitoring is here in the top 3, at least even the highest ranked features as well. But also actionable step-by-step plans are in the top 3. So yeah, to conclude here, as a first impression, that the survey and focus groups results align actually with the key challenges and the features we already had in our mind, and it will be used to further develop these as well for the suHCO challenge brief. So to kind of take a step back and to describe now actually what we would want for how the solution should look like and how it should look like. We have prepared this slide, and yeah, I will just go through each of them. So the first thing is already mentioned, but I should definitely repeat it here, that it should not be a specific solution. It should cover all departments, all sectors and value chains, and it should not focus on only one specific part. So that's something others should do, but the key selling point of our project here is that it should cover the entire organization. In addition, we want to achieve the highest impact where possible. So referring to the circular economy R strategies that Maria presented before, you can make a lot of more impact if you refuse to use certain materials, or if you reduce the materials you need compared to only recycling more. So that's something that definitely should be kept in mind when developing a solution for suHCO, and when making a proposal to participate in suHCO, that we want to make the biggest impact possible. It should also be applicable and possible for every health and care organizations, independent of the starting point. So it should be it should be possible to be implemented in an organization that is only starting with sustainability practices, but also to an organization that already has a policy and has a strategy, has implemented some aspects, but just want to improve further on sustainability. So the role of AI in our project is also important to emphasize. It is not the goal that it's just another version of ChatGPT that gives a little bit more information about healthcare. It should be really used to add value to existing solutions, or it should be really used to add value to your solution. For example, by curating sustainability expertise, finding case studies in different languages, translating those. These are topics, and these are ways how the AI would definitely increase value. And finally, it should be scalable. So we start with 3 procurers in our project, in which will be the first users of the solution. But in the end, followers will also be invited to test the solution, and we already have started with attracting quite a lot of followers. Actually, this will continue over the project. And it is expected that there will be a larger customer base, and that's also why we need a solution that is scalable and that can be implemented in larger organizations and in many organizations throughout Europe. And to quickly touch upon what is actually the capacities that we would need from you, I would start with the first one that's applicable to each BCP. So you should be able to perform R&D activities to develop a first product or service. So that's the classical capacity. But specifically to our project, you should be able to develop platform solutions. So you should have IT and AI expertise and platform expertise. Sustainability or circular economy expertise is key here as well. And another capacity you as a consortium should be able to deal with is health and care organizations. So this is a specific domain with specific requirements and specific challenges, and that's something you should be able to cope with, and that's why that's also will be one of the selection criteria. And finally, in the end, you should be able to commercially exploit the results of the pre-commercial procurement, including intangible results and intellectual property rights. More on the BCP part later, but to already give you an idea of the capacities we need, and which will also evolve into selection criteria, this is the first outlook here. And to finalize, that also a bit on the PCP process. So suHCO is a technology neutral project, product, should be a technology neutral product. And the process is also that we as a buyers group define the problem, the challenge, which will also evolve into award criteria, and that you as suppliers define the solution. And that's the process and the way we work in PCPs, and that's also the part where I will end with. And then I will hand over to Klaus.
Yeah, maybe just I jump in for a second. First of all, I switched on my camera now so that people can also see me and see who is talking to you or was talking to you. That was one thing. The other thing is I just wanted to remind the participants to use the Q&A section to write any questions they may have on any of the presentations so far. So please use that opportunity. You can, of course, also wait until the Q&A slot of this webinar, but yeah, just a reminder. And yeah, if there are no questions so far, I think we can continue with my colleague Klaus, who will present, yeah, the PCP process and how the procurement actually will work. Thank you, Klaus.
Hey. Thanks, Sonia. So let's talk about what makes pre-commercial procurement different from regular procurement. So I guess we've all done regular procurement in some sort. So you need a thing, you buy a thing, the thing arrives, and it's just slightly worse than the brochure suggested. So PCP is different. PCP says, hey, what if the thing we need doesn't exist yet? And then instead of just shrugging and buying the least bad option, we actually pay companies to invent it and test it under real world conditions with competition. And basically that is PCP. Let me go a bit more into detail. And there is, okay, I have it differently on my slide, but it doesn't matter. So, so why does VC fund that kind of procurement? Now, PCP is what the typical motivational speaker, which I'm not, but would call a win-win-win. So for procurers, that's in this kind us. So we get solutions that are actually tailored to what we need. So it's not some off-the-shelf product that was designed for a hospital in Minnesota and then just slightly rebranded for Catalonia. The suppliers, that's you, hopefully, you can enter new markets more easily. You can test your product under real-world conditions, and you retain your intellectual property. And for taxpayers, which is all of us, I hope, well, we get more sustainable healthcare services and a more innovative society. So let me try to put this in different terms. So traditional procurement is like going to a restaurant and ordering from a menu. You look at what's available, you pick the best option, you eat it, and you're fine. PCP is like going to a convention of chefs and saying, well, I have a problem. I need to feed 6 million people more sustainably across 3 countries with wildly different regulations, and also the kitchen is on fire, metaphorically speaking. Can you invent a dish? And then 5 chefs competed to make the best one, and you taste test over 2 years in 3 phases, and you keep narrowing it down until you have 2 dishes left that might just do what you had in mind. So to rephrase again, in traditional procurement, one supplier gets the contract. In PCP, several suppliers develop solutions in parallel. So the procurers, so we have a skin in the game too. We are engaged in the development, and we share the risk with you. So as I said, you retain the IPR that you develop in the PCP, but we as procurers, we get a discount if we decide to procure a solution after the end of the PCP. So after having talked about why the EC funds it and sort of the background, we're now entering what I usually call the how-to section. And this is why I try to explain the actual process, the timelines, the phases, and of course the paperwork that is always entailed with procurement. So we are currently in phase 0, which is where we develop the final requirements and the tender documents with your input, hopefully, which is why we're doing this OMC. And following the evaluation of the call of tenders and the timeline later on, we'll have phase 1, Phase 1 largely happens on paper, and it focuses on the feasibility, design, and risk assessment of competing solution concepts. As I said, this is where 5 suppliers, we think of 5 suppliers, it could be more, it could be less, that depends on the offers. So 5 suppliers get funded to design their approach. We'll get about 114,000 euro each and 4 months of time. And you can think of it as the audition round. Basically, everybody gets a shot and it gets evaluated. Following that, the evaluation of phase 1, phase 2 then translates 3 selected out concepts into actually working prototypes. The budget, because it's more work, goes up to roughly 380,000 euro, and you have 7 months of time. And this is where you actually start to build something. So no more fewer PowerPoints. And then after phase 2 has been evaluated, phase 3 provides 570,000 euro to 2 final suppliers that then actually test and validate their solutions in real world or near operational conditions. And this is where after phase 3, the PCP ends, but there is a phase 4, and that is commercial deployment. That's, as I said, outside of the suHCO scope. That's basically your future. That's where you take what you've built and hopefully sell it to the health and care organizations across Europe. And you may remember the slide that Maria presented a few minutes ago. So we have already 32 members of our follower network. So we expect there to be a real market for your solution. And yeah, as you see, it is a funnel, but it is a funded funnel. One thing that we got this question quite a few times. A PCP is not a grant. So what does that mean in practice? It means you submit an offer with a price. Your offer has to include all costs, including tax, if applicable. That will be made clear in the tender documents. And we request your financial offers per phase. So not only one offer, but for each of the 3 phases, we need 1 financial offer. And this has a ceiling, so no surprises. Yeah, so keep it clean, keep it honest, keep it under the ceiling. There are no negotiations afterwards. And plainly speaking, you do the work, it will be evaluated. You submit an invoice and you get paid. So it's like a normal business transaction, with the difference is that you have to submit a tender for the next phase. So a few more of these administrative stuff is, who can actually apply for this? The short answer is basically anyone. So companies, consortia, research institutes and startups. But if you're a legal entity, you're eligible. We don't care about your size, we care about your ideas. But, and this is where I need to pay attention, there are a few non-negotiables. So minimum of 50% of research and development activities and budget must take place in the EU or Horizon Europe associated countries. And as this is an EU-funded project, so yes, we do want the research and development happening in Europe, and it's hardly surprising, I guess. You can submit as a single entity or as a consortium, as the tender will be assessed on a certain number of criteria, which will all be outlined in the tender document. But given the breadth of what we are asking for and what Bart presented, so platform development, AI, circular economy expertise, health and care domain knowledge, a consortium is probably not a bad idea. I mean, unless, of course, you're some kind of superhero company that does everything, in which case, please also fix climate change while you're at it. That would be highly appreciated. And yeah, the typical sentence that you might have wished to have read beforehand, participation in this OMC is not a condition for submitting a tender, but I'd be happy if you stay anyway. So if we now move on to the next slide, which is about logistics, because nothing kills a great idea faster than a missed deadline or a submission in the wrong language, and all that happened to us in previous PCPs. So the submission is electronic, it's on a tender platform, so no carrier pigeons, no faxes. So honestly, if you try to fax it, that would be kind of iconic, but then again, I'm a nerd and I'm not in the procurement office. So it will be on a tender platform. You will be required to submit 3 sections in your submission: the administrative part, a technical part, which is your actual offer, and the financial part. All 3 matter likewise, all 3 have to be submitted and have to have a reasonable quality. The official language, although it's published on the Catalan procurement platform, is English. Tender publication is expected in July 2026, so in roughly 4 months, and the provisional submission deadline is the end of September. So you have time. It's not infinite time, but it's real time, enough time to find partners, form a consortium, have a small existential crisis about your approach, and then hopefully submit something excellent. How does the actual execution work? And at least for me, it's beautifully simple, at least by public procurement standards. So step 1, contracting. There's a framework agreement. That's sort of the general terms. And in each phase, we have a specific contract which covers deliverables, pricing, payments. Step 2 is monitoring. So during each phase, the buyers group, we check in regularly. We look at milestones, deliverables, outputs, and this is not to give money and disappear situation. So we are engaged, we are involved, and we co-design. So with that friend who keeps texting you, how is it going? Except, okay, in our case, we are contractually obliged to do so, and it's hopefully genuinely helpful. Step 3 is completion, and this happens after each phase. So satisfactory completion of milestones and deliverables is evaluated by the buyers group and is required for payment. Once you have successfully completed a phase, you have to, or you can submit a tender for the next phase. So yes, you do actually have to deliver, and it's not a revolutionary concept, I guess. One more thing that we like to mention is all contracts, invoices and payments are coordinated by CSC, the lead procurer in Catalonia. So it's one point of contact, one process, and you don't have to chase 3 different organizations in 3 different countries for your invoice. So we try to keep that as simple as possible. Then, as promised, I have a slide on the timeline, and I just show the entire slide. So let's look at the big picture timeline. Right now, February 2026, so we are here in the open market consultation, which is basically the getting to know each other phase. From February to June 2026, there is matchmaking, networking. We will have supplier survey online after this PCP. I think we have a slide on that. This is your window actually to find partners, ask questions, form consortia, and of course tell us what you think. And I'd be happy if you'd make use of it. In July, the tender launches. The tender documents drop. You have, as I said, approximately until the end of September to submit. And we will prepare webinars in case we have questions or need guidance regarding the PCP submission. Also some input, and there will be a FAQ section on the website. It's already open now with a basic set of questions. So if you have a question, just use the website and post a question, and there will be answers, hopefully, in due time. When we receive the tenders, of course, we will evaluate them, we read everything, we assess it, and if everything goes well, phase 1 is going to start in December 2026 until April 27. As I said, phase 1 co-design, so 5 supplies, 4 months of design, followed by May 27 through December 27, prototype development, 3 supplies building the real thing, and afterwards, January 28 until November 28, the pilots, 2 supplies, real world testing. So from where we sit today to the end of phase 3, we're looking at about slightly less than 3 years. And yes, I just hope you will join us on this trip. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot.
Thank you, Klaus. That is a good handover to the next session, which is about the Q&A, where we will open the microphones. Yeah, to make this a bit more interactive from now on. And yeah, we are very happy to receive any questions you may have, whether that is on the challenge we have been working on so far, whether that is on the PCP process that Klaus presented, or anything else that you would like to ask. So if you have a question, maybe raise your hand, and then I will give you the word. Marta.
Hello, thank you, Sonia. I am Marta from Market Consulting, and I want to ask, in the 4th phase, when we commercialize the tool, it would be on our own basis, or we will fix like a price or something like this?
No, phase 4 is outside the remits of suHCO. So that's, I mean, this is like normally your part. We will be there, of course, to help here and there with advice, but it is not part of this project. So we do together until phase 3. And until phase 3, you also have to work on your commercialization strategy. We will also support you with that. But what you mentioned would be outside of the scope. We could always look for a PPI as a follow-up to help with this, but this is not always so easy to find a suitable on-time PPI that is kind of giving a bit of funding to do that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's welcome. Clear. Any further questions? Or were we? That could mean we were either so super clear or not clear at all. Marta again?
Yeah,
yeah, no worries.
Another question. You will send us the link for that survey that you mentioned before, the OMC survey.
We will do. So we will send a follow-up email to each of you after the OMC, and in that email you will also have the link so that you have it at hand.
Perfect.
And yeah, just why others think of questions, to encourage you to really use that survey as an opportunity also to work with us and help us to shape the solution together. So that is, I mean, I know sometimes it's not so easy to ask questions right after a presentation because your brain has to work on what you have just been presented, but use the questionnaire, but also, any other means to further communicate with us after the OMC.
Yeah, exactly. And do some challenge, no, to you?
Yeah. Perfect. Super. Leah.
Yeah, hello. I'm happy to see you all. I see some familiar faces. So sorry if I missed this detail, or perhaps it's too early to go deeper in this. But I'm coming from a company that, as you know, Sonia, we have an experience of participating in PCPs. So we are quite familiar with the overall process in general. And I would like to ask if are you planning to follow a different methodology, if I may say, regarding the interaction between the buyers and the suppliers? Because the biggest challenge we always faced in past PCPs had to do with when it came to the integration and stuff like this, you know, the bureaucracy complexity, the different maturity level at the pilot premises and so on. So for now, can we expect something different from the buyer side, something more interactive, or an earlier engagement in this interaction?
Yeah, thank you, Leah. Just for the other participants to put maybe some more context around context around this. So in prior PCPs, we worked together. It was often around platforms that had the requirement to interact very closely with patients. That I think is one difference. The other difference is that we required the solution to be as much as possible integrated with legacy systems at the sites, for example, existing EHRs and things like that. And that was what Leah was referring to, that actually did not work 100% as we envisaged it to be or hoped it to be. And I think you are right when saying that difficulty arose at the side of the buyers, not so much at the side of the suppliers. To come back to your question, Leah, I would say yes and no. I mean, we of course have learned our lesson and will involve the IT departments earlier and more and consult them more intense, so that we can, in case we need to integrate, establish the requirements in that regard earlier and better as we did before. So that is one thing. The other thing is, I think the solution we are looking for this time is a bit more standalone than the solutions we were working together in previous PCPs. So, and it is not patient interfacing. So I guess, yeah, the answer is yes, we are adapting the methodology a bit. But B, we think that the main challenge that you had, and I think, well, it was a challenge for all of us actually, in terms of integration, will not be as big as it was in prior PCPs, because it will be more standalone as it was. So hopefully that helps, Leah.
Yeah, sure. All clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Leah. I give maybe the people a bit more time, 1 or 2 minutes to scratch your head, think about what we have been presenting. Yeah, and give you still the chance to open your mic and ask a question. Leah, again.
Yes, since I cannot see further questions from other people like me.
Yeah, sure, no worries.
Do you think that there is a possibility, for example, in phase 1, where the biggest amount of suppliers is expected to be selected? Is there an option that perhaps the suppliers could be 6 rather than 5? If, for example, they submit a very good financial offer and the budget could support more than 5 suppliers, or if there are any leftovers, the budget could be adjusted in the next phase and so on.
Yeah, simple answer, as long as the budget allows, that would be possible.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe to add on that, as we presented, this number of suppliers per phase is not set in stone. So this may still change. We will also ask actually your feedback in the survey as mentioned on this. So you will also have the opportunity to share your thoughts there as well.
All right. So I suggest we move on with the presentation. If we can maybe do a bit of a change, we can always go back to open up the mics, maybe after your presentation, next steps, because we still have a bit of time. So maybe we close the mics for now and then open up again after your presentation, just in case. If not, then yeah, we can always interact in different ways after this event. Would that make sense?
Yep, good suggestion. Yes, so the microphones and cameras are now disabled again, and yeah, we'll quickly present some next steps, and yeah, this won't take much, so there's definitely time afterwards as well for questions, so feel free to think about those in the meantime as well. But first, to show the next steps, and I think for the suppliers, those mostly focused on registering for matchmaking and the survey. But first, to recap actually the OMCs we already had. So this is the final international OMC event, but we already had 3 national events in all the procurer countries and cities. Some of them hybrid, some of them online, but all of them are recorded and the presentation can be found. So if you would like to have, for example, more a presentation in either Italian or Spanish, if that's your mother tongue, that can be found online as well. And I sent the links now here in chat too. So that's the overview of the OMCs we've conducted. And there may be, depending on interest, also future events about the challenge and about the tender as well. But yeah, that will depend on interest. We will definitely be visible whenever needed. Yes, as mentioned, a consortium may be needed to form to meet all the capacities that we require for suHCO, and we want definitely to help you with that. And that's why there's a matchmaking platform online on our website. Yeah, on this matchmaking platform, you can simply include what your own expertise is, where you're looking for, and leave your contact details so that everyone that could be interested to build a consortium with you can simply contact you. So I leave also some time now to scan the QR code or to click on the link to do this afterwards as well. And yeah, on the right you see a screenshot of how the page looks like. So yeah, make use of this opportunity. I would say it is there for you, and it's definitely helpful to find other partners that you may be looking for. Alrighty, yes. So we will invite you to provide your feedback on our challenge, also about on the feasibility, on the clarity of our challenge and of our envisaged solution. We definitely value your feedback here. And this is then also focusing, for example, on the user groups that we've presented. And as I already mentioned, the PCP timeline and the budget distribution, all of these elements are not set in stone. We will think about what the best options are, and your feedback will definitely be considered there. And we will also ask a final element we will ask is also to ask about your experience and familiarity with the process of pre-commercial procurement. Yes, then here you can see the OMC survey. I also give some time to scan this or to send it in the chat. And as Sonia mentioned, we will send a recap email to all the participants as well. So you don't need to copy all the links to a private note. We will share these as well later on. All right, yeah, that's then actually already the end of the presentation. And I would still open up the floor to any other questions that may have arisen after these slides or in between, and hand over to you, Sonia.
Yes, thank you, Bart. Yeah, we maybe stay for a few minutes just in case you have a question that you want to raise here. If not, of course, we are always there, as I said several times after the OMC. I mean, you really normally need some time to digest. Yeah, we cannot do this alone. You cannot do this alone, I guess. So we need each other to work on this together. So we are really happy and invite you to always communicate with us and whatever it is. And we will happy to cooperate, support as best as we can. Yeah, we hope that what we presented was actually so clear that you don't have any questions and not the opposite. I think we will realize after the OMC, depending on how many questions then come in. But for now, I thank you all for your time attending the OMC, for asking questions, yeah, we are happy to receive questions after this on C, and are looking forward to working together with some of you, most of you, however this will shape out in the future. So thanks everyone for attending. We give you a bit of time back. We have blocked a bit more time, but that is always good, I think. And then I think, Bart, we can close for now, right?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, again.
Thank you.